What's going on, everybody? I hope you're enjoying your early Monday afternoon so far. This is MYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about Starling Marte and why I believe he's going to be an integral part of this New York Mets offense going into the 2023 season, and why he has to continue to be one of the table setters in order to get this New York Mets lineup to where they need to be. But first off, I'm going to talk about a little bit of other news for the New York Mets. And that is New York Mets owner and team president, New York Mets owner and CEO Steve Cohen pretty much made in his announcement today that former New York Mets team president Sandy Alderson is no longer is the team president anymore, and he will now be known as an advisor, with owner Steve Cohen taking over more of the daily operations with the New York Mets going forward. Alderson has pretty much been with the team since 2011, where he was named the general manager of the team before that. And then eventually he was let go back in 2018, and he was brought back again as a team president with the team after he was undergoing chemo for when he was dealing with cancer before. So luckily he was able to be okay after that. But Alderson is no longer with the team in terms of being the team president. He is, though, at least an advisor of the organization under Steve Cohen, who is planning on taking over more of the day-to-day operations under the New York Mets now going forward. And at the same time, Alderson's son Bryn, who was an assistant general manager with the New York Mets and under team president Sandy Alderson before, he was let go by the organization last week, but there has been given no reason why he was let go under that current administration. And in the moment, assistant general managers are now Ian Levin and Ben Zauzmer for the New York Mets going forward. And Bryn Alderson had been with the organization since 2011, when his father eventually came onto the organization as well. And the Mets did not report in September that Alderson would step down as team president when they found their successor. That Sandy Alderson would step down when they found a successor. Cohen did not immediately announce who would replace him as terms of the overall successor as the team president, but Cohen did say they could go all season without one. So Cohen is pretty much saying the New York Mets could go all season without a potential team president with the team going forward, which, I mean, I get it. I understand why they would do that, but at the same time, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with the New York Mets going forward with this whole situation in terms of their overall team president. But right now, Sandy Alderson is no longer the team president of the organization with the New York Mets, and his son Bryn is no longer even with the organization as an assistant general manager with the team anymore. And Ian Levin and Ben Zauzmer are now officially named the co-assistant general managers of the New York Mets going into the 2023 season. Now I'm going to get into the meat and potatoes of why I'm making this video today. And I'm going to talk about one of the guys that is potentially going to be a top of the lineup guy, a guy that's going to be the table setter for the New York Mets heading into this 2023 Major League Baseball season, and that is the 34-year-old, 6'1", 195-pound outfielder Starling Marte. Marte was an absolute force and a difference maker for the New York Mets after he signed his contract with the team last year. I went into a little bit of detail on this during my roundabout that I did with the outfielders. But Starling Marte is more than just a table setter on this team. He's a very good contact hitter. He gets on base. He steals bases at a pretty consistent pace. He led the team last year with 18 stolen bases. He has a solid batting average of .292. He has an on-base percentage of .347 with a slugging percentage of .468 and an OPS of .814. He did slug at least 16 home runs and drove in 63 RBIs. And make this point too, he missed pretty much the last month or so of the season due to a fractured finger that he suffered during a game against the Atlanta Braves before. So, Starling Marte is so important to what the New York Mets are going to do at the top of their lineup going forward. He is the definition of a table setter for this lineup. He gets on base. He's able to steal bases, contact hitter, very solid defensive player. You could play the corner outfield positions. You could play center field. I think because of the fact the team brought back Nimmo, I think that Starling Marte is pretty much going to be the primary right fielder. You're going to have Mark Cannon in left field, and Brandon Nimmo will play center. But either way, this guy is a guy that gets on base. And when he's on base, he is a threat to steal and get into scoring position for the next person behind him. And he is a guy that is very, very strong when it comes to his overall play. And he played in 118 games last year. Before that, he hadn't really played. He hasn't played in a lot of games. I mean, like I said, he missed games last year due to that fractured finger that he suffered during the end of the season. But he had 466 at-bats in the meantime, and he still scored 76 runs and got 136 hits with 24 doubles, and he even hit 3 triples on the season with those 16 home runs and 63 RBIs and 18 stolen bases. Imagine what he could have done if he never ended up fracturing his finger during August, and imagine if he got to finish out the season, how much better he could have been. And he was so important to this Mets team. The fact of the matter is, when Starling Marte got injured and he ended up missing that last stretch of the season, the New York Mets offense was never the same. The offense was never the same when Marte went down with that fractured finger towards the end of the season. The offense started to stall. They were looking for other guys to be able to take over at the top of that lineup, and nobody really could do what Marte could do for the team going forward. He was just that type of difference maker at the top of the lineup for the New York Mets in terms of being an overall table setter along with Brandon Nimmo. That's the one thing that the New York Mets missed when Marte's absence, was a guy that can get on base and be a consistent contact hitter for the team going forward. Hopefully he's going to be able to stay healthy for the most part this year and is going to be able to continue to be that guy to get on base, steal bases, hit some occasional triples, hit some doubles, continue to, hit some home runs. I think he's going to be around a 20 home run guy, probably around 60, 70 RBIs. He's going to be the second guy in the batting lineup. Maybe sometimes he could be the leadoff guy, depending on how they want to play him and Nimmo. I mean, you could have sometimes Nimmo leading off for the team. You could have Marte leading off for the team. But either way, he and Nimmo are those two guys that set the table for this New York Mets team. And it's important that they find a way to keep this guy healthy throughout this season because of how important and what he can do for this baseball team going into the 2023 season. Because without him and Nimmo are the guys that really set the pace for this team. You take Nimmo out of the lineup, you take Marte out of the lineup, the Mets lineup is not anywhere near the same as it was before. So let's just see if hopefully these guys can end up staying healthy and the type of contributions they're going to be able to make for the New York Mets going into the 2023 season. But you guys let me know what you think about Starling Marte and his expectations heading into the 2023 Major League Baseball season, as well as the news that New York Mets former president Sandy Alderson is no longer the president of the team, and he is now officially an advisor under New York Mets owner and CEO Steve Cohen, and that Sandy Alderson's son Bryn is no longer an assistant general manager with the team. He has officially been let go as assistant general manager of the New York Mets. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Turn on the bell for notifications. Next video or short dropping on the channel for the Mets. Turn on the bell for notifications. And let me know in the comment section what you think about this news surrounding Sandy Alderson, Bryn Alderson, as well as Starling Marte and his outlook going for the New York Mets in the 2023 Major League Baseball season. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Monday. Take it easy, and let's go New York Mets. As always, all you got to do is you got to believe in those boys from Queens.